Hello, and thank you for joining me again in the studio. My name is Antonia Rolls, and I am an artist. Today, I'm going to talk about death and dying. Before I worked on addiction, I worked on death, dying, and end of life. I created a project called A Graceful Death, which are portraits and words from the end of life, in which I painted the portraits of people who were facing their own deaths and wrote their stories to go with it. I asked these people, who are you and what do you want to say? Around this time as well, I trained as a soul midwife, which is a holistic, emotional and spiritual support for people who are waiting for the end of life and facing their own death. Something that a soul midwife has is a lot of patience and listening skills and kindness, and we just accompany. So one of the people that I accompanied was my own brother Dominic, who was a Catholic priest. He was my youngest brother, and he died in 2016. I found my notes, and I'm going to read my notes now of what it's like to accompany someone who is dying and who dies. I've written about the daffodils. More are open this morning, and Dom has sunk deeper into himself. I wonder if there's a point where Dom's journey away from life will cross over there, the daffodil's journey into life, on some sort of divine matrix somewhere in the air. Early this morning I woke at 3 to sit back on my chair beside Dom. It was very silent. I took his hand very gently and said, "It's me, Dom. Tone, I'm still here." His hands were restless and he lay on his side, carefully propped up by cushions and held into position with pillows arranged by the nightstaff. He took my hand, my warm, living, healthy hand in his long, bony, cold fingers and put it to his mouth and kissed it. If I needed a sign, and I did, and do, that he knows I'm here and that whatever I'm doing is working, that was it. I can't tell if Dom is aware of me here or not. Most of the time, I just do what I do and hope that it works. I squeezed Dom's hand and told him that I know. Thank you. I know too. The room was filled with peace just before doing this. As dawn was breaking, I remember wondering if the break of day was making the room a happy place, whether the new day coming was giving Dom and me relief. At the time, I wondered if there was something special going on that I couldn't see, that Dom had something to do with it. Perhaps, I thought, there are angels in the room. I regretted briefly I wasn't able to see ghosts or hear spirits, because I would love to have taken part in an angelic visitation, sitting in my chair, holding Dom's hand and nodding wisely to myself, saying, "Ah, yes, angels, I see them a lot. There are shed loads here at the moment. Hi, I'll just wave at them like old friends." But I don't see angels and spirits. I want to add here that this little moment was while I was sitting with Dominic, the air in the room filled with joy and a kind of peace that made me look around like this to see whether there were actually angels in the room. But I couldn't see anything, but I was aware that my heart was singing and that the whole of the atmosphere was just so spectacularly joyful and filled with love. And at that point, I looked at Dominic and thought, "You're doing this. This is because of you." So this is what I'm referring to here. So back to the notes. Lexi, my daughter, texted me at that moment saying she'd drifted off to sleep with baby George at the breast and dreamt that she was sitting here by Dom with me in the dark. I heard Dom's voice saying in my head, "I love you constantly," she said, so clearly that it woke me up. Amazing. I sit with Dom, long to see the angels, and Lexi, hundreds of miles away, gets a visit. A God moment, I wrote back. Treasure it because it's real. If I hang around long enough, I may get a visit from angels, except that Dom's already here with me, so it will have to be an angel or Mum or God himself who visits. Not fussy, but I expect being in the presence of that peaceful joy just now was my God moment. That was lovely. Perhaps that will do for now. I just found an old water jug in the kitchen here and made a pot of tea in it. I put some milk in a glass and took a green cup and saucer and carried the lot back to Dom's room. There I set up my morning tea. I miss my pot of tea. There aren't any pots here in this hospice, and I left mine at home. This was going to be a treat. The green cup and saucer are heavy and beautifully designed, a wide rim and a narrow base, like Art Deco, a cross between a crafty pottery outlet and an Art Deco original. Just like my friend Rona's cups and saucers, I said to myself, and laughed. It was as if I had taken them from Rona's cupboard in Dublin, in her huge kitchen, and made myself some tea. "You are here with me," I texted Rona. "It's as if you are here and we are drinking tea from cups and saucers you would love." It made me smile. Dom is calmer this morning. Perhaps the pain meds are working better. He has 2 syringe drivers now. He has begun to try and cough, and the effort seems to distress him. "A bit chesty now," said the nurse. "A bit chesty." This happens, I recall, as death approaches. It's something to watch. If he feels he's not getting enough air, we will have to do something. But in a minute, I shall be getting my scrambled eggs on toast. Yum. I may go and sit away from Dom to eat them. It seems polite. Dominic's face is so thin. His nose is sharp like a knife. It's been hard having Dad here at the hospice. Dad and all the family came up. They flew up to Edinburgh, where Dom was, to say goodbye. So this was a hard day. The whole family came one by one to say goodbye. But Kostya has been wonderful. Kostya came and stayed the whole time with me to support me, as I knew he would be. He sat with Dad and suggested reading the morning paper aloud, which Dad did to Dom. Dad is in tears. I can't really hold that today. I'm leaving it to Kostya and to other members of the family. He'll be safe. Rafe, my older brother, will be with him tonight. I hope Dom dies tonight or tomorrow. Waiting like this is hard. It's long and it takes energy and focus. It takes reserves of strength and wisdom. I couldn't keep this up for too long. It's too intense. But here is the work of a soul midwife. This is what we do. This is my version. Full time, attention and focus, and coping with the long, long hours. I watched the hands of the clock yesterday at 4 p.m. I noticed the time at 8 p.m. and knew that 4 hours had gone, but those 4 hours were lost in a sea of time. Hours and hours and hours ahead and behind, and at some point, selecting one of those hours, Dom will die. And I will be there with him, unless he wants to do it alone. Dominic died at about 1 p.m, just under 3 hours ago. He died when we were chatting outside, me and his friends, and their 2 babies. Dom seems to have slipped away. Yes, yes, all the details about who found him, if I cried or not, yes, yes, all that. But now the room is completely silent. I can hear this pen, the faint tick of a clock, and some people doing their stuff outside on the corridors far away. Here I am then, me and Dom. He's yellow. His mouth has closed, which looks better. He's beautifully laid out, with the daffodils I put on his chest and his pillow. The nurses have put his rosary in his fingers, his crucifix and his Bible next to him. All that breathing, all gone. Silence now. All that breathing and rasping of breath. The noise, all gone. What a relief. It got something. It got very hard, and last night I wore earplugs to try and get some sleep. The blood's collecting on his neck and ears and the bottom of his head. I keep thinking I see his chest move. His fingers were blue and now they are yellow, and he looks more like himself. I swear the blankets are moving with his breath, but they are not. If he, Dom, is completely and utterly still. I wonder if Mum came to fetch him. I wonder if he was escorted by Grandma or aunts, Mum and our grandfather, or just a host of angels. I wonder. His last 10 minutes slipped away while I was outside chatting. It wasn't going to be right for me to be with him when he died. It was private. It was him and his God. He was in control. He set the boundaries. We worked it out, he and I. We, at least. I muddled through. I muddled along. He graciously got on with his dying. Here we sit. I'm daunted by packing his things and sorting out the registering of all that stuff. I want his priest friends to do it. They said they would, but if they can't, I can't bear the thought of staying up here for another week in Edinburgh. I want to go home. Bye, Dom. I'm peaceful sitting here with you two in this room. We did your dying. Where I muddled along and you did your amazing dying. I'm going to break the spell now and go and forestall your friend, who is the last to know you're dead, who is on his way. Then Kostya and I will pack and go home. That is a very accurate account of Dom's death. And my God moment was that moment of utter joy and peace when he kissed my hand. So, more next time. God bless and thank you for joining me.